So SmashCon just wrapped up here in Sydney. The title's not a lie, but it's also kind of true, but kind of not. I don't know how to explain it. This is the story of how I met Kevin Penkin, but not really, but still kind of did. I'm gonna let Mickell in Adelaide with a better microphone take care of this. Take it away.
Thank you, previous Mickell, who reeks of anime convention.
Hey, come on, man, don't be like that.
Sorry. So he's not wrong. Trust me, you're gonna want to hear how this entire story ends. Because my interaction with Kevin Penkin was one thing, but the events that transpired to kind of get to that moment was truly something else. In fact, it's what makes this entire story worth telling in the first place. So let's go back real quick. I got a call from my friend Riftrox, who was attending a convention called Smash in Sydney. He called me on the phone to let me know that Kevin Penkin was going to be there doing signings. As cool as that is though, to fly to Sydney is a pretty big deal, especially considering it being my first flight, so I wasn't going to be easily convinced.
Hey Mickell.
Hey man, what's up?
Dude, you should fly to Sydney and join me at SmashCon this year.
Nah, dude, that sounds lame.
Kevin Penkin's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Also, people in your cosplayers.
I'll see you in Sydney. So after saying goodbye to my fluids and listening to a breakup happen right beside me, I boarded the plane and headed to Sydney. The flight was fine for my first time. In fact, they served some meat pies and beer, which I mean, fine dining honestly. But my one gripe was the bold dude who sat in front of me. The top of his head was so perfect for slapping, and it was all I could think about on the flight, but I managed to resist my urges. Thankfully I landed in Sydney without any real trouble. It was quite late because the plane was actually delayed a fair amount, so I didn't arrive in Sydney until roughly 11 o'clock at night. After almost entering 2 adult shops because sex is haha the silly funny, I got to my 5-star room and readied myself for the big day ahead. But little did I know, fate had other plans. So the convention was fully packed out. It turns out this whole anime thing is actually a little big and managed to have some global reach here in Australia. The Kevin Corner, as I like to call it, wasn't exactly open just yet, so I decided to amp myself up for this fated encounter. I took a bunch of photos of a bunch of cosplayers. Oh look, it's the world's greatest dad! Oh look, it's famous VTuber Nana, who I totally knew prior to taking this photo. Oh look, it's the curse of the 5th layer! After headbanging like a madman to a brilliant idol because the crowd wasn't giving her the energy she truly deserved, it was finally time to meet Kevin Penkin himself. So I'm in the line and I'm incredibly excited. I've got my steelbook copy of Made in Abyss ready for signing. As I'm in line, a staff member comes up to me and asks to see my band. Now I don't play any music despite how I look, so imagine my confusion when he said this. It turns out he was talking about an armband, which is essential for meet and greets apparently. Which is a huge problem, because apparently you had to pre-order tickets to get these armbands. And to clarify, the site didn't say this on the guest list, so apparently it was an option over limited time. But then when you couldn't pre-order tickets anymore, like it didn't have that on the website, so no one knew that you needed these guest passes. So I walked out of the line and just wandered at the convention. I was devastated, to say the least. I took this trip with the sole intention of finally being able to meet Kevin Penkin himself, and alas, here I was, Kevin Penkinless. As I wallowed in self-pity like the real man that I am, I realized that Kevin Penkin was doing a small little talk panel, so I figured I might as well attend that and basically get a lecture from the big man himself. It was incredibly interesting actually listening to Kevin talk about the beeps and boops of the series, and in particular how if you mix certain songs in the series, it actually encapsulates the original vision that Kevin actually had.
If you go to the soundtrack, there's a track called Swings and Roundabouts, and if you play that track over that scene, that was the original intention.
僕が私思ったのレグはアビスの底からやってきたんじゃないかってだって君みたいなロボット今まで見たことないもん
But it was at this panel that a true hero had emerged. You see, people who come to this panel clearly watch Made in Abyss, which means I was surrounded by a bunch of Made in Abyss fans. I met a bunch of people there, but in particular I want to shout out one guy. We'll call him Midori for privacy reasons. Midori actually had pre-ordered tickets and was really keen to meet Kevin the Kevin Corner once the panel was finished. I won't lie, I was really happy for him because he seemed like the sort of person who was really passionate about the anime. Just a super swell guy. And then this man pitches to me something. He forwarded the idea that he would actually get my steelbook signed for me if Kevin can sign more than 2 items. Obviously I took up his offer. I gave him my steelbook but told him that, if they can only sign 1 item, please sign yours. After going back to the line and sitting on the outskirts, I watched Midori as he lined up. He looked incredibly excited to meet Kevin. As I was sitting down, one of the staff members actually approached me, and he said to me, "Look man, I know you really want to get in, and I really want to let you in, but you know, rules are rules." And honestly, it was quite nice being noticed as somebody who was a big fan of Kevin's work. I said, "Hey, it's all cool, I understand," and kind of just sat there for about 40 minutes. And finally, Midori comes back from meeting Kevin, and he walks up to me, and I immediately ask, "Hey, how'd it go?" And then immediately in response to that, he hits me with the most insane truth bomb I've ever heard. Midori says, "Dude, Kevin knows you." Naturally, I'm blindsided by this comment. "What do you mean?" I asked him. Midori then hands me back my steelbook, and there's a large message on front of it. It reads, "Hey Michael, keep up the content, love your passion, keep going. Signed by Kevin." It turns out when Midori had met Kevin, my name was brought up. From memory, he said he pointed backwards to where I was and said, "Yeah, the guy that looks like Moist Critical, but like a budget cosplay of him, he will have to get his stuff signed." And then apparently Papa Penkin went, "Oh, that's Pickell. Yeah, I know who he is. I'm gonna surprise him real quick." And I didn't know what to think, obviously. I don't like putting people on pedestals, but like, this is Kevin fucking Penkin. And from that reaction, clearly he's watched more videos, right? How would he know what I look like? I'm not gonna lie, it sounds a little creepy and a bit sad, but I did get a little misty-eyed. And I really couldn't thank Midori enough for that opportunity. He was honestly the hero of this story. You know, after all it took to get here, I felt satisfied. I made new friends. I took some photos with some amazing cosplayers. I got to support some of my friends in their art endeavors. I flew for the first time. I got to geek out with like-minded people for the first time in ages. While I never got to meet Kevin Penkin, it was fine, because in retrospect, he'd already met me. And then the next day, my friend Dragon had some bonus meet and greet tickets and actually got to meet Kevin Penkin, which was actually based. I thought ending the story on a summer note was kind of lame, so here we are. Kevin called me out before I said anything and was just like, "Mickell, Pickell, my man, what's going on?" I thanked him for his hard work on the series, and for the kind message he wrote yesterday. We talked briefly about how the grind is tough, but if you stick to it, you never know what will happen someday. Above all else, don't give up on your passions. And actually a huge thing, he realized that my videos were being pumped out at like 7 o'clock in the morning, because he's an Australian as well, he's used to these time zones. So he's aware that I'm editing from 12 AM until completion, which is such a huge honor to be recognized for that. Like, this dude really cares about the community and the passion of the community. Like, enough to pay that much attention. You know, what an absolute legend. He then signed my newest copy of the New Made in Abyss volume. I then proceeded to walk out of his vicinity and piss my pants violently because I was so excited. The end.
争い合って壊れかかったこ